It's album series time again, friends. This time I want to talk about one of the biggest, best-selling bands in American history. One who it's become kind of contentious admitting that you're a fan of them. Eagles. And if I can get through this without a cease and desist from Don Henley, I will call it a success. So consider this the first video in my series where I'm going to be talking about every single Eagles album in chronological order. So I just made a video about Linda Ronstadt and the part that she played in helping the Eagles get together. They were her touring band, close friends who met when they were all just kids playing at the Troubadour in West Hollywood. Once the four guys, Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Randy Meisner, and Bernie Leadon, had been signed by David Geffen for Asylum Records, they flew to London to start recording their first album with the acclaimed producer Glyn Johns. Glenn wasn't super pumped about doing this album at first. He wasn't all that impressed with the band until he heard their harmonizing ability, particularly with Randy Meisner's contributions. And his real interest was that, their ability to sing together as a country band. And this would kind of be a constant area of contention for Don and Glenn, who were definitely more interested in going in a more rock and roll direction. And this lack of cohesion and clarity really shows up on the record. There are some very country flavored songs on there, like anything contributed by Bernie Leadon, like Train Leaves Here This Morning and Early Bird, but it also contains some very rock sounding guitars at some point. And Don Henley, for all of his singing abilities, was a pretty killer rock and roll drummer. Their first single was also the first song on the album, a Jackson Browne song that Glenn had contributed to, called Take It Easy. The song was a massive hit, perfectly combining the country twang that they were all drawn to, but also satisfying their desire to keep it rock and roll. Similarly, Witchy Woman, the Don Henley track, which was not written about Stevie Nicks, by the way, this was before he met her, started to combine a few different influences, including rock, as well as rhythm and blues. Something that would kind of become a thread in the Don Henley songs through the Eagles music as we go through the records. Finally, Peaceful Easy Feeling caps it off as what would be the first big Eagles ballad to display their prowess as a harmonizing group, and one that you would want to dance to on prom night. The album was a moderate starter despite its list of massive hits, but it would end up being incredibly influential to the growing country rock scene, providing a blueprint for what a country rock album should sound like going into the peak of the 1970s.